Hello and thanks for joining the Wednesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, bandits kill 34 in 3 Katsina local government areas. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo comes under heavy attack for Fulanization comment. And later on the show, House of Representatives passes bill to abolish discrimination between BSC and HND. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Adekunle Yusuf. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Like the Yoruba people in the southwest Nigeria will say, our fruits are rotting away, and we thought they are ripening. Now, when we apply this to the security situation in many parts of the country, then we can say things are deteriorating, yet we appear unperturbed. And bandits again descended on Katsina State on Tuesday when they killed 34 people in multiple attacks on Basari, Faskari, and Danmosa local government areas. The bandits added salt to the festering injury when the cattle rustled cattle belonging to some of the victims. 10 other people were also reported missing after the attacks. However, hundreds of residents in the area took to the streets to protest the latest carnage. How did we get to where we are, gentlemen? We've been talking about Zamfara State. There was a sustained media exposure for what was happening in Zamfara State months after the killings in Zamfara State persisted unabated before the media was able to get on top of it. But we here on Journalist Hangouts, Jide went there and we've been able to, for a long time, we've been able to show Nigerians what was happening in Zamfara State now. We've started this on Katsina State. For a long time now, Katsina State to a spillover from what is happening in Zamfara State. Katsina State seems to be under siege, Babajide.
Yes, if you observe, there are now more reported cases of killings by bandits in Katsina than even Zamfara. These days, there are more reported cases of people being killed in Katsina now than Zamfara. And it's understandable. We want that in the face of brutal assaults by the Nigerian military, especially the Air Force, the bombardment by the Air Force, that these guys will go into states that are contiguous to Zamfara. It's just a natural thing. All of these places that you have seen...
Didn't we envisage this?
We want that they should block the routes through which they can escape into those areas. Because the truth is, yes, the Air Force takes off from the airport in Katsina. That is their base, to go and bomb the bandits in Zamfara. But it is actually in Zamfara. It is in Zamfara that they have unleashed their arsenal, not really Katsina. So my feeling now is that having fled the bombings in those areas, they've moved into communities in Zamfara to continue their killing campaign. They've moved into communities in Zamfara. And Sokoto, you also notice that we are now hearing increasing attacks by bandits in Sokoto because there are some communities in Sokoto that are close to Zamfara.
Yes.
And those communities in Zamfara that are close to Sokoto are among the worst hit. So you find local governments like Isa, local governments like Tureta in Sokoto being under the siege, and Rabah, which the local government of the late Sardauna, constantly is under attack. Because they simply moved away from where you are attacking them and moved into other areas. So we should have blocked the escape route. And we have this attitude of announcing our intention to attack. We will announce, we will give the enemy ample time to escape. Just as the army is announcing that it took delivery of light weapons.
New weapons. Yeah.
I've never seen where an army in the world will announce the receipt of light weapons. I'm not talking of
artillery,
heavy artillery, or maybe big armor tanks, big minesweepers and all that. Yes, the military in big countries even want to show their strength. You see the Koreans, they will show, the North Koreans, they will show that, look, this is our strength. You see their main battle tanks. Scary. But not to announce that you have light weapons. We did it in the past. And Boko Haram went to Baga. Before we even opened those light weapons from their pallets, they came, they seized Baga and carted away all the weapons. People will remember on the eve of the election in 2015. So, I mean, that's an aside. I don't think that we have managed this war against the bandits very well, because we should have blocked their route of escape. Everyone knows their forests in Zamfara, for example. Bayanrua, that's the major
forest
hideout of those guys, their base. There's also Dumburum. So you will find that the forest, each of those forests will serve at least 6 local governments that they attack. So we've descended on those forests, but those guys have found a way to escape. In fact, a friend of mine in the Air Force was telling me that it was so painful that I felt like crying, that there was a place that they went to bomb, and usually after the bombing, you will go and do some post-attack, what was it called? Mop-up or examination. And they found that there was nothing, because you expected to see corpses of people that you had killed, or the ammunition that you destroyed. But they clearly had left before the guys got there.
Working on information.
Yes, and you are bombing from high altitude. You may not be able to see everything. So this is the thing. They've moved. It's clear that they've moved into Zamfara. It's very clear. Almost every day they are killing people in Zamfara.
In Katsina.
In Katsina, I mean. It's clear. This is the thing. Gwari, there are some local governments, like Gwari, for example. If you are attacking them in Gwari, they will move into a place called Sabwa. Sabwa in Katsina. That's why it's unfortunate that we have this problem.
Adekunle Yusuf, this is becoming even more worrisome than the attack of Boko Haram, because the number of people that bandits, the number of villages they go to right now, and they hold the place under siege. Look at 35. Chide was telling us yesterday that between...
It was even 26 that I got the information, yesterday. Because it was that yesterday.
The figure has increased. And trust our people. It might be more than this.
That's the figure of people that they were able to retrieve. There were many people that were missing. And if you listen to the leader of the delegation that met the governor, he said when they were returning to their villages, they saw many corpses again. That is, many members of those they declared missing, they saw their corpses in the bush. So today they say 34. Last month they said another round of 32. There is no week that scores of people don't get killed in Katsina. So since last year, it's been a terrible scenario every day. And they go to the people, to the farms. Ordinary folks, they kill them. And it's surprising how we have not been able to achieve anything. Because in most part of those areas, the roads, in some of these places are very bad. Rocky terrains and all that. So in most cases, you can't access these places by road. So what these guys do is they go on bike, motorcycles, And they are always in huge number. They always, in fact, outnumber our security personnel. Mm-hmm. So when they come like that, the reign of evil will begin. They will kill people, they do everything, and they cut away people's, valuable things like livestock, cows, everything. Unfortunately, they normally have a free day, they do it, and nobody, Unfortunately, why haven't we been able to arrest some? Maybe there's a link between them and Boko Haram. We don't know. We can just, continue to assume. Maybe there's the arm of Boko Haram. We don't know yet. Why haven't we been able to, arrest some of these people? Maybe through interrogations, we can have valuable information that can be of help in the war against insurgents. To me, look at the way it started gradually in Zamfara. It continued and continued and continued, and all the response from the federal government has not worked. Now, it has escalated to neighboring states. How are we sure this spiral will not continue to other states? And I've tried to make some calls, tried to do some findings. Do you know that many of these people, as people tell me, they are not even Nigerians?
No, they are not.
Many of them, according to the people who are on the ground, they say many of them, because of the languages they speak, are not even Nigerians. But they live within us, they do all the damage, and they dissolve into the thing here.
All right, this is Journalist Hangout. I'll take this breather. When we come back, we'll discuss more. Please don't go away. Thank you for staying with us. This is Journalist Hangout. We are looking at the security situation in Katsina State right now. And Babajide, I want to believe, is this peculiar to Katsina State alone? Do we have this kind of problems facing other country, outside Nigeria, this kind of cattle rustling, banditry crisis?
We had this problem in Kano for some time. And the cattle rustlers were always hiding in the Falgore forest. Falgore forest is on the way to Jos, in a place called Tudunwada local government in Kano. Extensive forest. They will steal your cattle and hide inside that forest. But the governor of the state, Ganduje, came in and had what you call Amnesty program. And those guys decided to stop the cattle rustling, the banditry, which used to lead to loss of lives. Katsina also Katsina also came up with the idea of cattle rustling, amnesty for cattle rustlers. But the warning at that time was that, look, if you succeed with your amnesty program and Zamfara does not succeed, and banditry goes on and on in Zamfara, it's just a matter of time they will come back into Katsina. Because after Masari took over and the Secretary of Government of the state, Dr. Mustafa Inua, headed that committee. And remember, Mustafa Inua was in the administration, in the PDP administration in the state, so he had experience. The issues around banditry became a thing of the past. But because of the fact that in Zamfara, the problem continued, and then we are attacking them, they've now moved into Katsina. Katsina used to be refuge for people fleeing from bandits in Zamfara. Because even the governor of Katsina actually even embraced the IDPs, and he said any of them who wanted land to continue to farm in Kankara local government of Katsina, that he was prepared to give them land so that they can start a new life. But is that same state now that is now seriously under armed bandits attack, to the point that they are even now even kidnapping. They even kidnapped the governor's in-law. That was not enough for them. They kidnapped the president's in-law. So we are really in trouble. We are really in trouble. And everyone must see that, must realize that this is a big problem. Because, look, the Northwest, Kaduna is terribly affected. No matter what El-Rufai says. The other day was boasting that the Kaduna-Abuja road is now free. It's only anyone who wants to waste his life that will go and drive on Kaduna Abuja highway just because the governor claimed that
that's why the number of bandits that were actually arrested.
Yes, 93 were arrested and paraded last week. He's telling people that that highway is safe. He thinks Nigerians just simply sit back and enjoy lies. No, Mr. Governor, that is a lie from the pit of hell. It is not safe. I know a woman who was arrested, who was picked up by bandits on that road, and they were beating her with the side of a machete, and telling her to cry so that people at home will know that there's an urgent need to quickly send money. So this is the situation, and someone will come and tell us that Abuja-Kaduna highway is safe, instead of putting heads together with other people in government to see how we can solve the problem. It's busy feeding the people with a diet of lies. I mean, there's really no need for that. Let the governors of the North come together and find a way to solve that problem. Because the problem for me, the fear that I have is, by the time it begins to extend beyond the Northwest, we'll sit back here and be looking like fools. When it extends beyond and they've conquered the whole of the Northwest, they will come down. And the rest of us will not be safe. This is Boko Haram. You saw how Boko Haram, we were laid back. We thought it was a passing phase. That its time will come, they will go. Boko Haram has refused to go. Up to now.
Last kill.
I still saw a major that they just killed. We are losing young, brilliant officers to these bloodthirsty Boko Haram people.
Your party shots on this?
Well, our leaders should just wake up. What they have done so far is not good enough. Unless they stop this banditry, we still believe that they are not doing anything because people are dying every day. So there is nothing anybody can say. People are dying every day. Whatever they have done is not good at all.
Okay, moving on now. It is baffling how Nigeria's former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, is descending from a hero to an anti-hero. Former President Obasanjo fought in the Nigerian Civil War between 1967 to 1970 to keep the country one, but now is being condemned on a national scale for comments deemed inflammatory. The Iswa ruler drew the anger of many when he said at a program that the Boko Haram insurgency is fueled to achieve Fulanization and Islamization of the country. On Tuesday, the federal government joined others in criticizing Obasanjo for the statements. The Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, accused him of imputing ethno-religious motive to Boko Haram and ISWAP, that's Islamic State of West Africa.
If anyone in Nigeria today understands the price of national unity, it should be the former military head of state between February 1976 and October 1979. He later returned as civilian president after 20 years and served for 8 years between 1999 and 2007. So when he finds a link between the attacks by herdsmen on communities and the reign of terror by Boko Haram in some parts of the country, many people will take him seriously. He said these attacks are part of the grand design for what he called Fulanization and Islamization of African countries.
Both Boko Haram and herdsmen acts of violence are now combined and internationalized with ISIS in control. It is no longer an issue of lack of education and lack of employment for our youth in Nigeria, which it began as, It is now West African Fulanization.
But the federal government finds this unacceptable, particularly coming from a man who was in power at the elementary stage of the Boko Haram group. A statement from the Office of the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says, since the Boko Haram crisis, which has been simmering under the watch of Obasanjo, boiled over in 2009, the terrorist organization has killed more Muslims than adherents of any other religion, blown up more mosques than any other houses of worship, and is not known to have spared any victim on the basis of their ethnicity. The statement says it is therefore absurd to say that Boko Haram and its ISWAP variant have as their goal what the former president referred to as Fulanization and Islamization of Nigeria. The minister also said that President Buhari has put to rest the mischaracterization of Boko Haram as an Islamic organization when he said in his inaugural speech in 2015 that Boko Haram is a mindless, godless group who are as far away from Islam as one can think of. The former president preferred what he considered the solution to terrorism in the country.
Boko Haram and headsmen acts of violence were not treated as they should at the beginning. They are both incubated and developed beyond what Nigeria can handle alone. Government must appreciate where we are, summon each group that should make contribution one by one, and subsequently, collectively, seek the way forward.
Beyond the rhetorics, what Nigerians want is an end to mindless killings by Boko Haram and other threats to internal security in the country.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo there. And Babajide, in that report, we have the two sides, the reaction of the federal government and what the former president was actually trying to say. Yeah. So to break this down, I don't know what Obasanjo means by Fulanization and Islamization of the country.
You see, the one to say Fulanization is wrong. These bandits are simply doing it for the money. And they've not simply concentrated on one part of the country. You go to Kaduna, the highway, the Kaduna-Abuja highway, where people are being kidnapped, it is the Fulanis that are kidnapping people. And they don't want to know whether the victim is a Fulani like them. They are not interested.
They want money.
It's your money that they want to take. They don't want to care. They don't want to know whether you are Fulani like them, because the fact is they are Fulani. The people who dominate kidnapping in that area, a lot of arrests have been made. We've seen them. The people who kill other people in Zamfara, the bandits there, are Fulani. And their victims are Fulani. So what is the Fulanization that we are talking about? Because their victim is Fulani. When you talk about Zamfara,
Fulani man is also a victim.
He's a victim, yes. He's a victim himself. I think there was one, I talked about anemia in Zamfara, who even pleaded that Fulani leaders, you come together and stop the bad name that the tribe is collecting, if I can use that word, because of the activities of bandits that are Fulani. He mentioned it. And
when we say Fulani now, we are not even restricting it to Nigeria.
No,
there are Fulanis in Niger, there are Fulanis
and there are
Chad,
people, and they have their own, the people they work with here in Nigeria. We have Fulani in Mauritania, they come here. They come to Nigeria. We are wide open. We are wide open. I don't know any country that is as wide open as Nigeria. People simply come in to kill our people. So this is the thing. Those guys are not, because the way he spoke, it makes it look like, oh, they have an agenda to take over everywhere. They have an agenda to turn everyone to a Muslim. Those guys, their agenda is simply to line their pockets. This thing is commercial. It's money that they are after. Yes, it is true that in the southwest now, they've also come here. The bulk of the people who are kidnapping our people here are Fulani. It's not a lie.
Really? In
yes.
the southwest, yeah.
Yes. It's a fact. We've not been able, I think that the governors of the southwest will sit down and use their heads. Because today, it is not safe to travel from Ile-Ife right up to Omuwoke. That is the boundary between Kogi and Ekiti. There's nowhere that is safe. You can be picked up anytime. And these guys just exploiting our forest and all that to go and hide.
To travel by road now.
Yes. It's a dangerous thing to travel by road. So this is the thing. And you cannot tell me that Boko Haram, because when you link what is happening even with Boko Haram, you can't tell me that a preponderance of Boko Haram members are Fulani. Of course they are not. The bulk of the Boko Haram guys in the northeast, they are not Fulani. They are not even Hausa. They are not Hausa. The Shekau is from Yobe State. A lot of his people are from Yobe. Boko Haram began in Yobe State. So, to that extent, even that one negates the argument. It effectively takes care of the argument. If you want to say, okay, Boko Haram is involved in this, Boko Haram members in Borno State, they are not, it's extremely difficult to find a Fulani amongst them. So Fulanization is not the issue. It's not the issue. Let's see how we can protect our people. Because at the end of the day, the Fulani himself is a victim of his own brother. That is what the emir said. Before we go out, I will remember the name of the emir. And people can go and read. The Fulani emir from Zamfara came out and said, see, Fulani leaders must talk to their people. Because this thing is getting too much.
Adekunle Yusuf, what do you think the former president's election, we finished...
I think it's Emir of Anka,
we finished the general...
Emir of Anka, yes.
We finished the general election now. We expect in the next 1 week, the president will be sworn in again for another 4 years. So, what's Olusegun Obasanjo's game?
Well, I think the general feeling of insecurity in the country is enough to give anybody a lot of worry. Maybe he's worried because of that too.
Obviously.
You need to watch news emanating from Oyo, Ondo, Osun, and see the rate at which they kidnap professors, even middle-class people. There's no doubt about it. Those who do it are Fulani. At least many of them have come out and they have recanted their experience. So we may not have been able to follow them to the forest, to the bush, but they came out to tell us their stories. Believe me, there is a general feeling of insecurity in Nigeria, more now than at any point that I know. So maybe the former president may be worried, but I disagree with certain comments in what he said, even though I agree with a lot of things. Nigeria is under insecurity, under the siege of bandits, Boko Haram. The issue we just discussed now was about banditry. Believe me, I wish they are not linked to Boko Haram. If you read the history of cattle rustling, you know that it was once pronounced in East Africa. Many of the countries there were suffering under cattle rustlers and all that. The thing started, spreading to West Africa. Later, Cameroon. Now, Nigeria. And now, many scholars have been able to say that the money they get through these things end up, in the hands of terrorist organizations. So maybe, but I don't like ethnic profiling. We can't say Fulani, Fulani, Fulani. Some of them are not even Nigerians. My worry is that we've never been able to get to the root of these things by, if you make arrest and through that you're able to interrogate some of these bandits, maybe that may provide something like a lead as to what we should do. All these go and bombard, go and bombard, go and bombard, it has not helped us. So I don't blame Obasanjo really. Maybe he may get certain things wrong, but now I expect many people to speak up. Nigerians, we are not saying anything, and most people are not happy. So if somebody speaks up and we don't like what he said, we may distinguish, we may separate the messenger from the message, because if you read what Obasanjo said, he didn't criticize this government. Not in one single, he didn't criticize this government, but I don't like the idea of profiling an ethnic group. But the truth is that many of those doing this, crisis, are they not from that group?
That's what they are.
So it's very difficult. We don't want to say the truth. We don't want to offend any, ethnic group, but yet we must say the truth. How do we do it? Yeah. So in my case, I will not blame the former president. I don't like the setting that is saying it in the church. I don't like that. You can address press conference if you feel strongly about an issue, but what he said, many of it, nobody can dispute.
But when you look at Obasanjo and some of his tactics, yes, he said he doesn't like the way he said it in the church, and a lot of people will read several meanings to this thing. If you are talking about Fulanization and Islamization, and he has been up there, he's up there, and we see him as a patriot, somebody that should know the sensitive nature, the tripod we are standing on in the country. So I feel that for an elder statesman, there are things that he could communicate directly to the government.
No, he's not happy with the government, and I don't think they're happy with him. So I don't think he will patronize them to the point of saying, okay, Mr. Buhari, I want to tell you something in secret. I think it has gone beyond that point. He's already like an enemy to them because he fought them bitterly. He didn't want them to win an election. And the election has come and gone, and Obasanjo's candidate didn't win the election. So I don't think he can, at this stage,
utilize
go and meet them and say, okay, I think this is what you should do. They will even not... they
won't grant him audience.
They won't grant him audience, or they won't... Even if they grant him audience, it will be simply to ridicule him. As he has come again, always trying to draw attention to himself. But when you look at what Obasanjo has done, it's similar to what Danjuma did, sometime last year. So when he said that what we are going through is ethnic cleansing, it just shows that at some point, the Nigerian leader can retreat into his ethnic cocoon. That's what it means, because Obasanjo, in my mind, is probably the most detribalized president Nigeria has ever had. But if he can be talking like this, it just reinforces the feeling that most Nigerian leaders are not indeed patriots, and that at some point they retreat into their ethnic cocoons, because that is what it looks like to me. Yes, there is a message in what he said, and for me, it is the message that the government should take seriously. For now, people exploiting our forest, our fauna, to kidnap innocent people should not be happening. It was happening in Brenengwari, and there's an excellent highway, Brenengwari to Funtua. For people don't use the road because you don't want to be kidnapped. You would rather not use the road. Is that what they want to turn Ife, Ijesha, right up to Ondo. Because in Ijesha, all of those areas, they can pick you anytime. They can pick you anytime. And the testimony of those who have been picked is the same. It's the same. They know who are picking them. You know, I went to see victims of armed banditry, you know, the Katsina, Zamfara victims. And they told me who was kidnapping them. They mentioned it. So it's not simply Jide saying these are the people who kidnapped. No, if the victims came out to say, we can play it back. This is the thing. So government must do its best. No tribe has the right to be kidnapping people up and down. No tribe has the right to be killing people the way people have been slaughtered in Katsina and other places. And governments must show that it is not only in control, it is not only in government, but in control, by ensuring that this killing stop. When this killing stop, people like Obasanjo and others who are reading Islamization or other things, they won't have anything to say. It is when government fails spectacularly to do what it needs to do that people like Obasanjo will come out and talk. And if people have genuine fear that if people have fears that their land, that some people have come to take over their land, then such fears should not be dismissed. Because I want to quote what Governor Lalong said sometime last year, because this thing is real. In Plateau State, more than 50 communities have been taken over completely by invaders and renamed. So the governor said those fighting, killing people, and destroying their settlements with the intention of taking ownership of such places will not be allowed to do so. If you think you can chase people out and grab their land, we as a government, we will not allow you to own the land. My administration is working out modalities for prosecuting land grabbers to discourage the act. Because
want to take over.
Once the people flee,
the people?
if the people cannot resist you, they surrender their area to you. You then take over the place, especially if it's close to water. You then take over the place. That is the fear that people like Danjuma are expressing. It may not be totally true what they are saying, but insecurity in Nigeria is real, and government must address the problem. That is, for me, for the first time, I would want simply the message in what Obasanjo is saying. We should address it. We should address the insecurity.
The messenger.
Yes. This is what I'm saying, because I want to travel on that road. I want to be able to leave this place and go to Ekiti and play with my friends who are there. Majid is there, for God's sake.
Have you?
You know, I've not seen him for some time. I should feel free to travel on that road. But once you travel on that road, your heart is in your mouth. Must all of us fly all the time? Because nobody has set up a train service for us in that corridor. But there is the present danger, ever-present danger of being kidnapped.
No, with this new revelation now, it's even difficult for anybody to go by road.
No, the whole of that area. Do you know? See, students of some posh tertiary institutions, if you know how many of them have been kidnapped, parents are warned that don't tell the police. If you tell the police, we'll kill your child. So they quietly simply go and pay ransom. We are besieged. We are cornered. We are surrounded. We are encircled. I wish I can find more words to describe what's going on.
Did you listen to the experience of that OAU professor that was kidnapped? It was even being live on NTA. And he revealed a lot of things. Another lawmaker in Ondo State that was kidnapped again. How many of them do you want to talk about? What do you call this place in Okeogun? And it's every day.
Shaki.
It's every day. So in Nigeria today, there is general feeling of insecurity. Because somebody said it.
Feeling, huh?
No, it's real.
It's not even feeling now. Okay, to some of us, it's feeling because we have not been touched without God. But when your colleagues, your mates, your neighbors, people you know are being kidnapped, it's a message to you that it can be your turn.
Yes.
So if people decide, maybe out of fear, out of whatever, they didn't want to talk, please, they should speak up. Because it may be anybody's turn.
Those areas.
I want the government not to dissipate energy criticizing Obasanjo. There is truth in what he
Go
said.
ahead and solve the problem.
Solve that problem.
Solve the problem.
If
As
there
simple as
is
that.
no problem of insecurity in Nigeria, then there won't be any need for anybody to say that. I don't want to discuss the messenger. I'm interested in the message because in Nigeria, we feel more insecure now than at any point that I know. And it's not longer, before when we come on this program, we discuss security in Nigeria, we are talking about Northeast. Today is virtually everywhere. Everywhere. This should not continue. The same energy at which the government is using to criticize anybody, you should use it to fight, the bandits. That's what we want.
To defeat the bandits,
They
not
should
just fight them. Defeat the bandits.
Okay. I'll take my final break now. When we come back, we'll discuss more. It's still Journalist Hangout. Please stay with us. Back. I guess we should just take our final take on this particular topic because we're still getting feedbacks and reaction from it. Babajide?
Yes. I'm saying that I'm not interested in Obasanjo's story about Fulanization. I do not believe there's anything like Fulanization. But there is banditization. Bandits have taken over. Whether the bandits are Fulani is not the issue, but they have taken over. And this part of the country, even the southwest, is no longer safe. North Central is not safe. Northeast, not safe. Even Northwest is not safe. So where can we talk about that is actually safe? Delta, we see how they are kidnapping people. So now, government, the DSS, what is their work? They should identify the camps, as we have identified the camps of bandits in Zamfara. They should identify the camps of these guys on that Ife, right up to Akure, that corridor, that extensive corridor. They are kidnapping people there every day. So they should identify where their camps are. They must have camps. Since they've turned that place to their mint machine. Finally? They should identify the camp and destroy their camps.
Yusuf, sharp.
Okay. Before, I love to travel around the north very well. Today, I'm afraid to do so. Now, I don't want to be afraid to travel around the southwest. Now that bandits are gradually taking over the entire state in the southwest, I want the federal government not to allow this to continue. If they take over all over Nigeria, then we are finished.
Okay. For donkey years, a discrimination in form of dichotomy between bachelor's degree and higher national diploma, HND, holders persisted in many forms like entry level and salary. But like every obnoxious policy, such dichotomy has been confined to history. On Tuesday, the House of Representatives passed a bill to abolish and prohibit discrimination between first degrees and HNDs in same profession. While debating the bill, the lawmakers said there is no moral justification for such discrimination. Hence, the required recognition must henceforth be accorded to the products of those polytechnics. Babajide, quickly, what's this all about? And for House of Representatives to be passing it, I don't know, maybe Senate will have enough time to do a concurrence and the president will sign it into law.
No, this has been on for some time, and some of those strikes by polytechnic staff, they have always demanded for a removal of this dichotomy. So, and students too, not just ASUP, the academic staff
of
polytechnics have protested. Even students have always demanded for it. Because what it meant was that even when they are in the same profession, you, the polytechnic graduate, you cannot reach the peak in the civil service. The peak grade in the civil service, you can't get there. And then your entry point is grade level 7. Whereas for the university graduate, his own entry point is grade level 8.
Okay.
So it is this kind of dichotomy that they are trying to do something about, because it's really meaningless at the end of the day. We see products of polytechnics who are better than products of universities. We see, we have worked with a lot of them. Some of them you won't even believe. Some of them, you've edited people's scripts that even you as an editor, if you are not sure of yourself, you won't be able to say, look, this is what I take out. With word power and everything, you know. So it depends on the quality of the person that is coming, not the degree that you
are holding.
Yes.
Adekunle Yusuf, in our days in the University of Lagos, those days, you know, people used to bring Yabatech students to come and sit for financial accounting, OND 1, if you remember, those days, to come and sit for a final year.
Yeah. Let's be honest. I'm not happy that we've turned our country to a country that only worships certificates. It's what you can offer. HND, BSC, or BA, they are not the same thing. And nobody can convince me, you know, otherwise. But the truth is that if you're a graduate, you're a graduate. There are many, as Jide said, there are many, you know, polytechnic products that are far, far better in terms of what they can deliver than the university graduates.
That should not be used against them.
And by our law, the same law that says you graduate from a university, you go to NYC, says you graduate from a, you know, polytechnic, you go to NYC. Then what's the dichotomy all about? I don't know why we do it. We just love certificates. If you look at big countries, it's not so. If you do first degree, many people will not bother to go to the university again unless their work requires them to upgrade. But Nigeria, some people, you see them, they have 5 masters. I say, what for?
They can't defend it.
No, what for?
You look at countries like America,
when you look,
how many people are graduates on the street?
Look at America, the percentage of people that have university, I mean,
what's that?
Then look at the percentage of people who have, you know, second degrees. But in Nigeria,
masters everywhere.
It is a fashion that, oh, you don't have second, you don't have masters, you don't have MBA. Oh, it's like O level, you know, because despite the fact that people love to make noise that
no employment after first degree, so you'll be forced to go for
tertiary
second degree.
education in Nigeria is extremely cheap. So because of that, we exploit it. You see somebody having 3 master's degree. Come on. To do what?
I'm just happy that after, because I remember on May 6, 2015, the then government of Goodluck Jonathan set up a technical committee to address this problem. Wike was the commissioner and Minister of Education at that time, you know, and they had SUP members, you know, on that committee. But this government has shown a determination to put this matter to rest. Even before the House of Reps came up with this resolution, the federal government had announced that it was abolishing that dichotomy. So I want to give them credit for what has happened, and it's good that they've done this at the end of the day.
All right, and that's our offering. I want to thank you, Adekunle Yusuf Kuleshi.
I'm always glad to be here.
And the Metro, Babajide Kolade Ositoju. Thank you so much. And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another edition of the program, and also watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. We're also on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.